Hi, everybody. I'm Debbie Belaus. I'm the owner of Qigong with Debbie. I teach yoga, Qigong, and Tai Chi. Most of my students are over the age of 55, and I teach that population because I'm over the age of 55, and I know firsthand what it feels like to have the body starting to age. So that's my group of people, but anyone can do these practices. I mean, they're healing, they're wonderful, they're easy to learn. I love teaching, I love practicing. But today I want to talk about a lot of my videos are on the physical movements of these practices. But there's another really important practice in these Eastern practices. It's called meditation. Now, meditation has been well studied, and it's talked about a lot. It's wonderful. More people are talking about it and doing it. It is a practice that I love to do myself and also to teach. But what I have found over the years that it's one of the hardest practices for people to learn. And I think that's because we're asked kind of to do nothing but to be quiet. And that could be really hard for most of us. But there's so many ways of learning it that can be so beneficial. And I just want to talk about some of the benefits of why a meditation practice. One, meditation can help reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression and stress. It can also increase self-awareness and compassion. Studies show that meditation can improve focus, attention span, and cognitive function. Really good thing for people over 55 for cognitive function. It can help you relax and quiet your mind, making it easier to fall asleep and improve sleep quality. I know a lot of people suffer from poor sleep, and meditation can definitely help with that. Some studies indicate that meditation can help reduce pain and discomfort. Regular meditation may enhance your ability to resist urges and manage addictive behaviors. Research suggests that meditation may help buffer the aging brain and improve cognitive abilities. Meditation can help reduce stress by lowering cortisol levels and promoting relaxation. Studies indicate that meditation can improve mood and reduce feelings of anxiety and depression. Meditation can also help with self-control, improve self-awareness, and even enhance creativity. Like, okay, so why wouldn't we want to do it? Personally, I start my day in a quietude, in a quiet repose feeling, and it helps me just kind of gather myself for the day. And I notice when I don't do it, I feel really off. I've noticed also that as I'm aging, my attention span isn't quite as sharp as it used to be. And if I don't sit for a bit and kind of, again, gather myself, I find that it sets my tone for my day. And if I don't do it, I feel kind of lost, actually. So I know the benefits are just wonderful. So it's important to start with, the why. Why would you want to do this? So, maybe you already know that, and maybe you've been wanting to do a meditation practice. I have found that the easiest way to teach this is not in one shot. There's steps to it, and each step, whether you do it or not, each step in itself is a beautiful practice. So meditation, the full thing about meditation is one pointedness. It's bringing the mind to one point. And that's very hard for us to do because we have what's called the monkey mind. We're always thinking. And that's okay. But the mind in a quietude can settle down enough where you'll probably still be thinking, but it won't be racing. It also helps you to understand, how your body's just feeling. Just that alone is a big deal, becoming self-aware of how you're doing. So every morning I ask myself when I'm meditating is, how am I feeling today? And if you sit long enough, the answers come to you. So it's really good also for if you have a big decision to make in life, just coming in, instead of trying to figure out in that busyness and that stress, it's a lot clearer when you sit in a quietude. Answers come to you. You can answer your own questions if you give it some time to settle in. It's kind of like the snow globe. You shake the snow globe and it's very dusty. If you let it sit for a while, that snow globe will settle down, and then you'll see what's ever in that globe. It's the same thing about your mind. So the first thing is, why you want to do it. So you want to think about that. Why are you doing this? Maybe it's for pain, maybe it's for stress, maybe it's for that sleep, all those things that I have mentioned for you. And I think the other thing why it's so hard for our Western mind, because we're so busy and we're always told, keep doing, keep doing, keep doing. And that's fine, that's productive. But there's a point where it's not anymore. And that's why the meditation, or I call it the sacred pause, taking those sacred pauses during your day to help become even more productive, perhaps. But also, I think the other reason is when we were young, as children, we probably even have done this with our children, is if you're naughty, you were probably put in the corner to be quiet, take that time out. It's like the punishment, like take the time out. But actually, it's not a punishment. It actually helps to take you out of a high intense situation, quiet yourself so you don't overreact, and then you can come get through something. So taking a time out is very important for adults as well. And I think once we understand that principle, that it's not a punishment, it's actually a reward for us to take the time out, to take that pause. So I've broken it down to 5 steps. I'm not doing all the steps today because it's way too much information. So I'm going to take the next 5 weeks to introduce you to the next step. Now, whether you practice the first step or the second step or the third step and just do that for months, that is perfectly fine. Like I said, each step has its own beauty to it that you can use in your everyday life. So the 5 steps are, the first one is creating sacred space. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. It's the beginning. The second one is breath awareness and finding an anchor. The third one will be on mindfulness, how to practice mindfulness. The fourth one is relaxation, doing meditation in motion, which helps with relaxation. And the last one would be the complete meditation in quietude, is finding that one-pointedness. Now, the thing about finding one-pointedness, I think we have all done that in our life. So say you are a crafter, maybe you do weaving. And while you're doing that weaving, you're completely focused on that weaving where you get lost. You get lost in it. That's one-pointedness. Your focus is on that weaving and nothing else. The mind is not wandering off. That's one-pointedness. Maybe you have done in another way. Another way would be gardening. Some people love to garden, and you're so in that one-pointedness that time just kind of goes by and you haven't even realized it. That's one-pointedness. So that's kind of what we're getting to. Again, we want to do the steps to get to that, but we kind of know that information. And I think children do it all the time. They go into their imagination and they're just involved with that. They don't have to worry about anything else. It's kind of being in the moment, that mindfulness. So the brain and the body knows how to do this. It just goes dormant as we get older because we get so busy and hung up in that busyness that we forget to take that pause. But the mind does know how to do it. So we're just going to reawaken that dormancy to come into that repose. So the first step is finding your sacred space. You want to set the tone for this kind of practice. And once you get it, then you'll be able to do it anywhere, anytime. But in the beginning stages, like with anything else, learning something new, it's important to find a space that you would feel really comfortable just sitting in. So as you can see, this is my office. This is where I teach my online classes. It's filled with objects that make me feel centered, that make me feel calm, because the things that I'm teaching are about calmness. And this is also a place that I do come to meditate. I also have a space outside that I have developed for my practice as well. But in the beginning, you want to find something inside, because if the weather is not good outside, you're not going to go outside, and then you're not going to do your practice. So I always say that find a space in where you live that you can kind of dedicate. And it doesn't have to be a whole room. It could be a section of a room, especially if you don't have a lot of space. But somewhere in your place where you live, find a sacred space that you can develop for yourself. Now, you want to keep it as clean as possible. So everything is energy. Everything has an energy to it. Furniture has energy to it. Sounds have an energy to it. Colors have energy to it. a bed has energy to it. So everything has energy and everything can bring up things. So I always say, keep your space clear and clean of not too much stuff. Again, if your place, you don't have a lot of space, I always tell people you can get like a bifold, maybe screen that you can screen off just a small place for yourself in a room that you use all the time. So in other words, say you don't have any space and you're thinking about using your bedroom. Okay, so the bedroom, the bed, you think of the bed, you think of sleeping. That might not be the best place to do a sacred space, but you can do it if it's the only place you have. You can do it again, maybe screen off your bed so you just have a corner of the room, not having that bed remind you of sleep. If you're doing it in your office, maybe cover your computer when you're ready to come into your sacred space, because the computer denotes busyness, maybe work. Again, it can be very distracting. I always tell people, very careful of the things that you place in your space. Try not to use pictures of people, because people can distract you from coming into your space. Maybe use pictures of scenery that might help you feel, calm. Maybe have a candle that you can light before you sit to just kind of remind yourself of that, coming into that inner space, coming into that quietude. So develop for the next week. I want you to think about where your space could be and start thinking about how you want to set it up. Now, for some people, they've actually repainted a room, taking a room and reorganized it. Maybe it was their junk room. They weren't doing anything with it and they cleaned it out and they dedicated it to this practice. There's so many different ways you can do this. And if you're sharing space with somebody, again, you want to be careful, again, what you're bringing into the space. So things like furniture even have a vibration. So I've had people say, well, I brought in my grandmother's rocking chair that she gave me, many years ago, and I brought it in. And then I would always ask them, did you have a good relationship with your grandmother? And they would go, no. And I would say, cut. Don't do it if you use it, because it might bring up not such great energy, So, maybe cover it with a new cover. You don't have to get rid of it, but maybe repurpose it with a new cover, maybe with a pillow, something that's going to kind of make it your own, and that won't, bring up some bad stuff. So we're trying to keep the space very, very neutral. And like I said, once you get used to doing this practice, it won't be as important. But for the beginning practice, it's very important. Maybe you have a little water fountain you might want to bring in. So I want you for this next week, before I do my next video, is to start creating that sacred space. What do you want to bring into that place? Make it really cozy for you. And every day, once you have it, and it might take you more than a week to do this, but this is where we start. This is where we have to start, is setting the tone for this practice. And also ask yourself the question, why do I even want to do this? Because without the why, you're just going to do it haphazardly. You might not be motivated to do it. But if you have a specific why, so that's the first place. If you have a specific why, then write it down somewhere. I want to learn a meditation practice for, and then, fill in that sentence. I want to start this meditation to reduce pain. I want to start a meditation practice to quiet my busy mind. I want to start a meditation practice to find some solitude. I want to start a meditation practice to learn how to relax. So find that why. Start there. And then once you've got that, write it down on a card. Place it in a space that you think this could be, you want to develop. And it changes. Sometimes, you realize, oh, this really wasn't the great place for me. Maybe this could be better. So it might take some time to kind of figure that out. So I have a little story to tell you, because it's kind of interesting. So I had a very good friend who they had just built a house. They had 3 children. They're in the thick of life. I think he was a doctor. She was a homemaker, very busy with their children. They built this beautiful house. So I came over to see it. She showed me all around. She showed me the office that was for her husband. She showed me the kitchen. She showed me where each child's room was. She showed me the basement that was dedicated to the kids. She brought me all around. She showed me the bedrooms. And then after it was all done, I said, well, you've got space for your husband. Your kids all have a space. I said, where's yours? And she looked at me. She goes, oh, it's over here. And it was this little space in her kitchen that faced a blank wall. And it wasn't very inviting. And she had this huge house, and that's all she picked for herself. And I said, you deserve something a little bit more spacious, a little bit, more for you. Like everybody's got their space, and she was fortunate to have a big house. Everybody's got their space, but you haven't done anything for yourself. So it kind of turned the light bulb on, and then we went through the house again. We were kind of figuring out, this might work, and she finally found it. She found her space, and that was the start for her practice. So, think about, do you have a space? Do you have a sacred space? And start developing it. And then once you have it, I want you to sit in it every day for a minute, a second. Just look around. Start to create the energy in the room. Start to create your energy in the room. And that's the beginning stages of coming into a meditation practice. Next time I see you, I'm going to try to do another video next week on the breath and creating an anchor. We'll build up on this practice, and each build up will get you closer to maybe not taking you to complete sitting quiet, to just bringing your mind to one pointedness. That takes practice. I still practice that, and that's really not the whole purpose of this, but you'll have a framework to get you there. And hopefully you enjoy it, because that's the big part. If you enjoy it, you'll do it. Excuse me. If you see the results of a change, you'll do it. So thank you so much. I'm losing my voice. Not sure. Things are like kind of, I don't know if you see it, but it's kind of like this dust going by. I do live in the desert, and sometimes there's dust in the room, but if you have any comments, put it in my comment space. If you have questions, if you need any guidance, maybe you think, you need some help with kind of developing the sacred space for yourself, just let me know. I'll get back to you, and we could try to, figure this out together. But I know it works. It's a beautiful practice. It could be done anywhere once you understand it. You can do it while you're waiting in line. You can do it while you're waiting in an airport. You can do it while you're waiting in a doctor's room. You can do it when you feel like you need a time out. It's a way to really come into yourself and finding that quietude, that peacefulness. It becomes your sacred space internally, where you can stay above the fray, which I love. It's kind of like staying above this chaos of life for a little while, just to kind of check in, calm down, and really enjoy our life. And we have the complete control of how we feel, how we think, and how we live. So that's really the purpose of it. But thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time out to watch this. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, just hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just taking maybe the time to maybe learn something new. I try to post something every week. And if you have any comments, put in the comment box. If you have any ideas or anything specifically that you want to work on, let me know, and I'll try to work on it and get that to you. But thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and be well, everyone. Namaste to everyone. Thank you.